Hi everyone. So this is a new beginning, and we can also call it the season two of the Light Worker podcast. And I don't even know, if I want to name it something else, but let's just go with the flow, right? So this is more of a an audio recording for all of you, so that you can all listen to it while you're doing your own thing, and that's something also that's also something that really resonates with me, and that's what I do. And so I thought, like, this is something that'll really reach out to more of you folks out there. So today I really want to talk about hiding, right? I want to talk about shame and hiding, okay? So this is a deeply personal story, and I feel like as I am letting go of peels, layers of my shame, and I'm willing to be seen, I think it's also helping my clients to be able to, be more visible, open up, talk about their shame, come forward and share. And the more we're all, open to being visible, sharing our stories, the more we heal. Yeah. So, before I say anything else, I really want to thank all of you for being here, for listening, for opening your heart to this conversation. This episode is going to be different. It's personal, it's a doorway actually. And honestly, it's something that I've waited my whole life to talk about, right? To say. Now, I've already started, talking about this in many of my programs, but I think this is the first time I'm talking about it in my podcast. So, my father was an alcoholic, and for the longest time, I carried it like a secret. I remember that, I somehow, as a child, growing up, I used to think that if I pretend to be this perfect person, perfect child, perfect good girl, nobody will know that my father is an alcoholic. And because somewhere there was this deep shame, that I was constantly drenched in, day in and day out. And I used to think that somehow, I mean, I was protecting not only myself, it was somehow like protecting my father also, to be not be judged, right? And I didn't want to be, I don't want to be pitied, and I don't want other people to look at me differently, right? And I also didn't want people to know how deeply it affected me. It was very confusing because how much ever, I tried to compensate, I kept feeling, the shame, and not just for him, for myself, for being his daughter, for my family, and also helpless for not being able to fix it, for not being enough to make him stop, right? But now, after years of working, right, on myself, now I know that shame is not about what happened, right? It is about the meanings we make from it. Yeah. So, when I was little, I learned to hide not just from my father's drinking, but from the world's gaze. Yeah. And that gaze was really piercing, right? Nobody can really explain that look that I imagined the way people were looking at me and judging me, right? Maybe they were not even, but this was my fear. And becoming the good girl, the strong one, trying to be the overachiever, right? Because deep inside I thought if I can be everything he's not, maybe I'll be safe. Maybe I'll be seen differently. Yeah. But today, but that was a little girl, right? Little girl, that little Anisha. But today, I want to ask all of you something, okay? How many of us are doing that right now? How many of you are hiding, pretending, wearing masks so well that we forget that, what our real faces even are? Okay? We scroll constantly, on Instagram, we are looking at reels after reels after reels, we are lighting candles for full moons, and we are looking at all the healing posts and liking it. And yet, inside, there is a room we never enter, a grief we never name. Because naming it would mean we have to feel it. And feeling it means we have to admit that we're still holding on to that pain. Yeah. And for me, this whole process of not even acknowledging that emotion that I'm feeling, or not even talking about it, and just, yeah, yeah, everything is fine, we've moved on, and not looking at that inner child version of me, or all these inner children, who kind of were scared of the world's gaze. um it it kind of halted my growth, beyond a point, because I need to be able to address, those inner children, and which I have been working on now. And it's and the moment I kind of did that, it gave me an opening, right? It gave me an opening to look at the world a different way, right? Imagine this world that has been looking at me, or so I imagined. Now I can look at the same world, and that too with kindness, right? Or some sort of love, right? Which I could never, even in my wildest dreams, fathom, right? But now it's different. Now the gaze, I'm looking at the gaze from another vantage point, right? And I can actually see the pain in other people's eyes. You see how um, the tables have turned? Because working on myself, I've been able to see that, not for myself, not just for myself, not just for my father, but also for the world. And that has opened up a whole new world of healing for me. Okay. So it's easy to judge someone, like people judge my father for drinking, right? And I don't know what they all said, but probably, how careless, not being, you know responsible, and all that, right? But what's harder? To ask, what are we drinking to numb ourselves today, right? Because it's very easy for people to judge my father, right? Or for who he was, because it was very obvious, what he was doing. But what are all of us doing, right? We are all um hiding our pains in different ways, right? Maybe we're not drinking, but maybe we are overworking, right? Maybe we are constantly living in the future, right? Maybe we are so drowned in the way we look, right? We are avoiding eating healthy, nutritious food, and we are constantly not nourishing our body and soul, and kind of making our body go through hell. Or on the other hand, we are emotionally overeating, right? And we are constantly stuffing ourselves every time we feel an emotion that's too hard to feel, right? So what are we using to escape, right? And what if some of the people we judge are just the ones who are no longer able to hide it? Yeah. Because whether it's alcohol, binge watching, overworking, pleasing everyone, manifesting without actually feeling, aren't we all hiding? Sometimes, I think my father wasn't the only one. Yes, he was definitely the visible one. His pain, kind of had a scent, a sound, right? But my pain was silent. It looked like strength, yeah, like self control, like, even now, like being a healer. And that in some ways was harder to catch, because his pain was visible and mine wasn't, right? because somehow it made me believe that I was okay, while I was slowly disconnecting from the parts of me that needed love the most, right? And that's true for many of us, right? There are people, who are addicted, who have their own stories, own journeys, right? And we are all very quick to judge, right? And to say that so and so is going through this, and they're not strong, and they are they don't we don't even acknowledge their suffering, right? It's almost like we make them an outcast. Yeah. Whereas we're all in some way disconnecting ourselves from um the world, and it's not visible, and it's acceptable, so we continue to do that. Yeah, we continue to hide. We continue to hide our true selves, right? We continuously pleasing everyone, being doormats, okay? Yet we feel very, very, very scared to show our real faces. Yeah, we keep doing that job that is killing our soul. We keep killing our creative endeavors. We stop listening to that intuition that all of us have, by the way, right? And we are constantly striving to be the best, and we are actually shaming and berating ourselves every time we're not the best. So we are actually that mean parent, right? Who's actually making your inner child's life hell. And it's a process, folks. It's a very, very, it can be a very short one, but for me, it's been a long process for me to understand, accept, and love myself. And I'm tearing up while I'm saying that, but it's true. We've all gone through our own stories, and each story is special. Each story has created who you are, right? Our parents, our environment, our you know surroundings, friends, school. We've all had different people impact us in different ways, and I want to urge you to, first of all, by the way, when we judge, right, actually I want to urge you to look at where and what are you judging, what is really triggering you, because whatever is triggering you, that's actually the deepest portal inside you that'll lead to your liberation, that'll help you come out of your hiding. And that's what I've realized over the years, that there are so many things. I mean, I was like a box of triggers, right? Everything triggered me. And now, yeah, now I, more than reaction, I focus on what is it inside me that's really the issue, and then I work on that. Yeah. So this episode is actually an invitation for all of you to make that journey within you, okay? Within you, to help you understand who you truly are. Because until unless you know who you are, until unless you process your emotions, until unless you know your true desires, you will always feel this ambivalence in life. You're not getting what you want, you don't like this, you don't like the food, you don't like the country, you don't like the people, your health is always up and down, something or the other is constantly bothering you, because that true version of you is still hiding. Yeah. So this episode is my rebellion. It's me saying I'm done hiding. So yes, my father was an alcoholic, and yes, he was in pain. He didn't know how to talk about it, right? So he drank it down. However, what do we do, right? What do all the other people do, right? We all judge people. We judge people like my father. Yeah. Because that's what's easy. Yeah. Because then that just makes something on the outside Like, something that's not comfortable happening on the outside. We don't have anything to do with that, right? But what is that? We're all one, aren't we? And he is just a reflection of something ugly inside you, by the way. Yeah. So just because we choose something else, and just because we look away from people like my father, doesn't mean that, that pain within you, that hidden self of yours is not there. It's still there, right? Today I'm choosing to see the little boy inside my father. Yeah. The one who was never held, never validated, never told that it was okay to feel. And in choosing that, I'm choosing to see me too. When I choose to see the little boy in him, I choose to see the little girl in me. And maybe, just maybe, you will choose to see yourself now. Not the performance, not the image, not the curated healing identity, yeah, and not all the masks that you've put on of being this perfect person, yeah, but the tender, truest you. Who are you? What is this raw version of you? What are your rawest desires? What do you truly, truly, truly like, right? What would you do if money was not an issue, right? What would you what what would really bring you joy, guys? I want you to think about it, because what truly brings you joy now is is the portal to liberation for you as well. So of course, one is what triggers you in someone else, right? That definitely is something, that'll take you to where your healing needs to start. And then the end of that tunnel is actually your joy, your truest joy. And for people who think I don't know what it is, this I don't know is also a block, by the way. Because if we believe in Aham Brahmasmi, if we are the universe, if we are God, right? Then of course we know everything. We are blocking our intuition, we are blocking our knowing, we are blocking our third eye. So today, with this, raw podcast, I want to invite all of you to answer, to, just take some time out for yourself and answer these three questions. What are you hiding behind? Is it that job, that relationship, your kids, your father, your ancestors, your money? What would happen if you didn't need to protect your image anymore? Yeah. And can you let your truth be seen, even if it's messy? Even if it's messy. Because, guys, folks, the moment we come out of hiding, we come into our power. Not performance power, not projection power, but soul power. The kind that says, I have walked through shame and I choose to rise anyway. I am not perfect. I am not finished healing, but I am here and I'm done hiding. So I want you all to think about what it is that you're hiding behind, what is your true self. And if you can't even figure everything out today, this is just an invitation for you to hold my hand and take a pledge of wanting, of choosing to come out of hiding. Because when you choose to show up in this world, the world starts to show up for you. Yeah, that's super powerful. So Thank you everyone for being in this moment with me. You don't have to, but you did, and that means the world to me. So let's keep walking out of the dark into the truth together. And if this episode stirred something in you, I'd love for you to share, leave a message, or, DM me. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement out of masks and into the real you. With all my heart, signing off, Anisha Dutt from Zaria Healings.